So, what we are doing here is just drawing 4 boxes. I'm choosing 4 samples to try from the mark making sheet here. I'm starting with the wood effect. This one's quite self-explanatory, so we would use this type of mark making on trees to give them a realistic texture. And now I'm just moving on to pointillism. I'm making it darker on the left hand side by adding more dots, then less dots towards the right. This can be used to create shadows in art. We can use this technique to add tone and make objects appear 3D. Here I'm doing the mark making technique slanted broken lines, and this technique is often seen in Van Gogh's works and other post-impressionist works. Similar to this, we have the dandelion effect, which can also be seen in Van Gogh's paintings. So we see lines coming out from a point in the middle. So once you've done these 4 boxes, you will now be working on your Van Gogh mark making worksheet. Here I've done an example of one of Van Gogh's ink drawings of a tree. I'm using multiple colours as well as a fine writer to add mark making to this tree. This style of mark making leans more onto the abstract style over a realistic style. So for this particular one, Van Gogh would use all these crazy lines to sort of represent a feeling rather than, the realism. I've still used the wood effect on the bark of the tree though. I'm just going to do a quick example on the Van Gogh mark making worksheet. So for the skyline, he used pointillism. Around the boats, he has used mark making to create a realistic ripple effect of how the water would move around the boats. For the ocean, he has used loose waves for the mark making. As you can see, there's just a lot of varying lines and lots of different mark makings to create this realistic looking water. Now, what we want you to do is print this worksheet, but obviously you may not all have printers at home. So if you don't have a printer, I'm just doing an example here of how to trace from a tablet. If you are using your phone, there are plenty of tracing apps on the store for Android or Apple that will just be called Tracing App or Tracing from My Phone or something like that. And here I'm just doing an example on my phone of how you can trace. So obviously your phone isn't big enough, it's not A4 size, so you can zoom in like I'm doing to create a bigger image, but you've got to make sure to keep a focus point that you can line up when you move the image. So for this example, I'm using Obama's collar, so a little part on his shirt as reference as I move it round to make sure it lines up with that part of the image.